Maybe you've experienced this before. The doorbell rings. Someone wants to stop by, catch up, spend some time with you. But something stirs inside, a quiet unease, an invisible wall, a strong pull towards simply saying no. You don't dislike people. You hold no grudge against the world. But if you're being real with yourself, having guests just isn't something you enjoy. You'd rather have your peaceful home, your uninterrupted rhythm, your energy intact. If any of that resonates, take a slow breath, because in this video, we're stepping into territory that very few people openly talk about. The deeply personal, widely misunderstood discomfort felt by those who struggle when others step into their private world. And no, you are not cold and you are not antisocial. According to Carl Jung, the founder of analytical psychology, this response may point to something far more profound within your nature. Today, I'll walk you through 6 of Jung's insights that shed light on why certain people simply don't welcome visitors, and why that isn't just understandable, but may actually signal a meaningful and valuable psychological process unfolding within you. So stay with us until the very end, because if you've ever carried guilt for craving solitude, you might discover today that it has far less to do with a character flaw and far more to do with the architecture of your inner world. And before we get into Jung's insights, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Have you ever felt that jolt of discomfort when someone shows up at your door without warning? I genuinely want to know if you recognize yourself in this. Okente. Have you ever asked yourself why some people seem to come alive at parties, social gatherings, and visits, while you feel worn out just imagining it? Or perhaps you're someone who genuinely connects with people, who maintains warm relationships, but the moment someone wants to enter your home, something inside you pulls back, as if the simple presence of another person begins draining your reserves. And there's actually a real explanation for that. Carl Jung, among the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, was the first to bring 2 now familiar concepts into mainstream conversation: introversion and extroversion. But be careful not to reduce them to shyness or how outgoing someone appears. Jung wasn't describing social habits. He was describing the flow of psychic energy. The extrovert channels their energy outward. They are fed by contact, stimulation, and the external world. The introvert, however, operates almost in reverse. They refuel from within. Their power source is quiet, reflection, and time alone. When they're exposed too long to the outside world, extended conversations, surprise visitors, noise, disruptions, their inner system begins to shut itself down. Not from arrogance, from psychological necessity. And here is the essential point. Not wanting visitors is not a social shortcoming. It is a direct expression of how your energy is wired. If you lean more introverted, and many people do without ever recognizing it, your home is not simply a building. It is a sanctuary, a cocoon, a place where your energy reorganizes itself and your psyche finds its footing. So when someone walks into that space, even with the warmest intentions, they are brushing against invisible threads you've been carefully untangling all day. Their presence alone calls your persona, your social face, into action. And the moment that happens, you drift further from your authentic self. And honestly, that is profoundly exhausting. Jung taught that introversion is not a conscious decision, but a disposition of the soul. So when you push against that inner current, you only generate more friction and fatigue. Some might say, oh, they're just withdrawn. They don't like being around people. But what most people miss is this. What looks like coldness or indifference is frequently self-preservation, a psychological armor, a boundary drawn by the unconscious to protect the most vulnerable interior parts of who you are. Carl Jung, this mechanism, the shadow. And the shadow is a part of you that you may not fully recognize, yet it quietly runs the show, governing your feelings, your reactions, and your most unexplainable discomforts. When someone crosses the threshold of your home, you're not simply opening a door. You are unconsciously allowing them into the space where your energy lives at its most raw and most exposed. And that is precisely where the shadow stirs. The shadow holds everything you've had to tuck away, dimensions of your personality you felt forced to conceal, buried fears, unresolved chapters, unspoken wounds. Picture this, someone rings your bell, you sit together, conversation begins, and instead of unwinding, you feel a creeping tension. A vague discomfort rises, and sometimes you can't trace it to anything specific. The truth is that person's presence, their voice, their energy, the way they carry themselves, may be unconsciously poking at a blind spot in your psyche, something you haven't yet summoned the courage to face, something that lives in the shadow. That is why Jung said, "What you do not bring into consciousness will appear in your life as fate," and sometimes that fate looks like social discomfort, a visit that seems perfectly ordinary on the surface but leaves you feeling invaded, irritated, desperate for them to leave. It isn't arrogance, it's your unconscious standing guard over your inner wholeness. And there's something more. The shadow doesn't only carry darkness, it also shelters hidden gifts, dormant abilities, buried truths, potential you haven't yet given yourself permission to claim. The more you live on the surface, adapting, staying pleasant, forcing social encounters, the less oxygen your soul has to breathe. So if solitude calls to you, if the idea of having visitors feels overwhelming, your shadow may be speaking clearly. Listen, you need quiet, you need space, you need yourself. And actually hearing that message, that takes genuine courage. You know that wave of relief when you finally step through your front door after a long day? The door shuts behind you, you kick off your shoes, you exhale, and for the first time all day, you simply exist. In Jungian psychology, the home is not just a structure, it is a symbol of the soul. It mirrors your inner landscape, and when someone enters that space, they're not just walking into your living room, they're stepping into sacred ground. Jung believed that symbols reveal more about us than language ever could, and the house stands as one of the most potent symbols of the psyche, representing the self, the core of our being, where everything finds equilibrium, where healing quietly happens. Each room corresponds to a layer of your personality. The bedroom, your most intimate self. The living room, your social face. The kitchen, your emotional sustenance. The basement, your unconscious depths. The attic, your elevated thoughts. And the front door, that is the boundary between your world and everyone else's. When someone crosses it, your unconscious registers the intrusion. Something external has entered. It's not just a physical presence. It's a foreign energy, loaded with its own stories, tensions, and unresolved emotions. And for someone sensitive and introverted, or someone deep in the process of individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming your truest self, this can be genuinely overwhelming. For Jung, the home was never merely a barrier against the outside world. It was an inner reflection. When you feel at ease in your space, something inside you is also aligned. But when visits feel disruptive, when they shatter your stillness and cloud your atmosphere, perhaps your unconscious is whispering softly, this soul is still being shaped. Not every door is ready to be opened, and that's perfectly all right. Protecting your home means protecting yourself. In depth psychology, honoring your boundaries is a foundational step on the road to healing and wholeness. So if you've ever felt guilty for wanting to keep your home quiet, for preferring to be alone, now you understand. You are not hiding from the world. You are safeguarding the temple where your soul lives. Have you ever held a polite smile in place while every part of you wanted to be still? Poured coffee, made conversation, played the gracious host, while internally counting down the minutes until you could finally be alone? It sounds harsh when said out loud. You feel selfish, ungrateful. But Carl Jung offers a framework that makes this entirely understandable. Jung called it the persona, the mask we wear when we present ourselves to the world. It is the social role, the version of ourselves calibrated for work, family, relationships, and yes, even visits. The persona isn't dishonest. but it is narrow. It is not your whole soul, only a curated fragment, typically the most socially palatable one. The tension begins when you are forced to wear that mask inside your own home, the one place where you should be free to simply be. For those with a particularly defined persona, and this includes many introverted, sensitive, perceptive people, a visit can be extraordinarily depleting. Suddenly, you are performing, choosing every word with care, monitoring your expressions, managing the flow of the conversation, noticing the dishes, wondering if the lighting seems off. Every one of those micro-tasks draws from a finite reserve of psychic energy, and it drains fast. Jung said, "The persona is necessary. It allows us to navigate the world. But the moment we confuse the persona for our true self, the soul begins to cry out." Perhaps that's exactly what your inner resistance to visits is expressing. It's not that you dislike the people. It's that their presence demands a performance, requires you to maintain an image, even when everything in you is asking for peace, for bare feet, for silence by the window. And what makes it harder still? Many people wear their persona for years without a break. Even in their own homes, they host, they make the effort, they smile through it, and they are somewhere beneath all of it, utterly hollowed out. But here is a truth that depth psychology offers as genuine liberation. You have the right to be completely yourself in your own space. You are allowed to say no to visits. You are allowed to be unavailable, because every time you pour yourself out to keep others comfortable, you quietly abandon yourself. There are moments when solitude is not a preference, but a necessity. Not dramatic, not sad, simply a deep calling from the soul for stillness. In those moments, many people feel strange, almost guilty, as though something is wrong with them. After all, we live in a culture that rewards those who are constantly visible, energetic, and plugged in. But Jung saw this pull toward withdrawal very differently. For him, it was often the opening movement of one of life's most significant journeys, the path of individuation. Individuation means growing into who you were always meant to be, not the shape your family expected, not the role society assigned, not the persona you learned to wear, but your truest self, whole and unfiltered, light and shadow together, conscious and unconscious, essence and depth. And this kind of becoming does not happen in the middle of noise. It happens in stillness, in retreat, in the spaces between. That is why discomfort around visitors is not weakness or emotional fragility. It is your soul creating conditions for something important, pulling you away from distraction, so you can finally hear what is being whispered in your deepest layers. Something inside you is trying to emerge, but emergence requires space. Jung put it plainly. Loneliness does not arise from having no one around. It arises from being unable to express what is most true within you. And what could matter more than learning to listen to yourself? But how do you do that with guests who overstay? With conversations that never reach any real depth? The truth is, certain seasons of life call for deliberate solitude, not as escape, but as descent. You don't withdraw to disappear. You withdraw so that when you return, you come back more whole, more grounded, more genuinely yourself, while the outer world calls for your presence. Gatherings, obligations, appearances, your inner world makes a quieter request. Linger a little longer. Don't open the door just yet. Tend to yourself first. Perhaps something has been stirring in you as you've been listening. A strange, quiet sense of recognition, almost like relief. The calm that settles when someone finally names something you have, felt for a long time, but never had the words for. And yes, trust that feeling. This discomfort around visitors, this near physical unease you've spent years treating as a personal failing, it is in fact a reflection of something far more layered and significant. If Carl Jung were sitting with you now, his steady gaze taking you in, he might say this: you are not wrong for needing to be alone. You are simply learning to hear the voice of your own soul, and that is rare. So let me now share with you 6 deep, honest insights from Jungian psychology about people who are drawn to solitude, especially within their own homes. First, you are likely far more sensitive to the energy of spaces than you've ever been given credit for. Jung said that the unconscious perceives what the conscious mind overlooks. Some people are acutely tuned to the invisible field around others. The tone of someone's voice, the weight behind their gaze, the tension they carry unspoken. You feel all of it. When someone enters your home, they bring not only their body but their emotional atmosphere, and you absorb that as heaviness, as inner turbulence. It is genuinely exhausting. Your psyche requires space to process. Jung understood introversion as a natural and necessary function for bringing the inner world into order. Quiet time allows your mind to recalibrate, but a single unplanned visit can knock that process entirely off course. What looks from the outside like antisocial behavior is, in truth, your system reaching desperately for air. Third, relentless social interaction can quietly disconnect you from yourself. Jung taught that the true self can only surface in inner stillness. Polite conversation, constant presence, the effort of being friendly, all of it moves you further from your core. To you want to tear for people. It's not that you don't care for people, it's that being with others often asks you to set yourself aside. Fourth, another person's presence can activate your shadow. The shadow, Jung's term for the suppressed dimensions of the self, the buried memories, the unresolved wounds, the unwanted traits, can be triggered by something as small as a visitor's offhand comment. Suddenly you feel tense, rattled, inexplicably irritated. It isn't necessarily about that person. It's about what they've touched inside you, a corner of your psyche not yet integrated. Fifth, this pull toward withdrawal may be the beginning of something sacred, your individuation. Jung said that individuation begins the moment you stop performing for the world and start listening to yourself. When you acknowledge that you need time, silence, distance, not to flee from life, but to engage with it far more honestly and fully. And finally, the sixth truth, you are learning slowly and meaningfully to listen to yourself, to say no without the weight of guilt, to close the door without shame, to hold your own boundaries without apologizing for them. Because every forced smile, every gesture of hospitality offered from an empty well, those moments cost you something real. You've begun to feel that you cannot keep spending what you don't have. It is time to honor what your soul is asking for. Picture an old man with a long white beard, a lantern in hand, walking in solitude through the quiet darkness of night. This is the timeless image of the hermit, an ancient figure that carries enormous meaning within Jungian psychology. Jung taught that the hermit is an archetype, a primordial image, a universal current of energy that flows through each of us, whether or not we ever name it or embody it consciously. But what does this ancient figure have to do with you? With your desire to close your door, keep your home quiet, be left alone? Everything. The hermit represents the deep inner summons toward withdrawal, toward wisdom, toward self-knowledge. It is the impulse that makes you want to silence your phone and lock the world out, not to escape it, but to finally hear what is happening within you. The hermit lives in silence because he understands something essential. Only in stillness does the clearest light emerge. This archetype does not represent hollow loneliness or pathological retreat. It represents the courage to turn inward, to sit with your own doubts and shadows, to look at your fears without flinching, and in doing so, to uncover your own quiet inner flame. No one else can hand you that light. It can only be found from within. And to find it, the hermit requires a sacred place. And for you, that place is often your own home, your refuge. If you feel that almost magnetic pull away from hosting toward stillness, toward being left in peace, it may be your inner hermit calling to you. He asks you to slow your pace, to stop fragmenting yourself in the noise of the outer world, to come back to the center of yourself. Jung believed that answering this call is not a withdrawal from life, but a return to it, essential to genuine mental and emotional health. And following the path of the hermit, it is also a quiet act of rebellion against the relentless pace of modern life, against hollow socializing, against the pressure to Always be reachable, always available, always performing. It is an act of self-love, a commitment to soul care. So the next time someone questions why you prefer to be alone, or why you'd rather not have visitors, remember the hermit who lives inside you. He stands in the dark with his lantern, steady and certain, showing you this: real light is only found after you've had the courage to walk into your own darkness. And needing that silence to find yourself? That is not only okay, it is wisdom. Have you ever noticed what becomes possible when solitude is truly embraced, not endured, but welcomed? It becomes more than the absence of others. It becomes a living space for transformation. For Jung, the hermit was never a figure of failure or sadness. He was a keeper of inner truth. When you follow the hermit's call, something in your solitude begins to shift. It stops being emptiness and starts becoming richness. In that quiet, you locate answers. The world's noise has been drowning out for years. You allow yourself to feel fully, think without rushing, reflect without interruption, and your soul begins the slow, steady work of healing. You start to recognize your own patterns. You learn to bring shadow material into the light. You discover dimensions of yourself that have been waiting, patient and silent, to be acknowledged. And beyond that, you begin to grow a quiet inner strength, a self-assurance that doesn't depend on anyone else's approval or presence. For many people, this path is uncomfortable at first. The outer world endlessly applauds busyness, networking, constant connection. But the hermit offers a different kind of truth. To truly be present for others, you must first learn to be present with yourself. That is the gift hidden. So if you turn down an invitation, if you choose an evening alone over an evening with company, you are not closing yourself off from the world. You are preparing yourself, quietly and internally, to meet it later with far greater authenticity and depth. First with yourself, then with others. The hermit is extending you an invitation to this deep inner work. And if you feel that pull, you are already on the right path. Now that you've come to know your inner hermit, a crucial question surfaces. How do you find equilibrium between the need for solitude and the need for genuine human connection? Jung was clear that a whole life does not mean abolishing the social self or retreating into permanent isolation. It means creating a honest conversation on both sides. It means creating a conscious, honest conversation between both sides. The hermit calls for stillness, withdrawal, looking inward. The outer world calls for presence, contribution, engagement. The art, and it is an art, lies in honoring your limits without sealing yourself off completely. In not forcing yourself into social situations when you are not inwardly prepared. It is a daily practice of listening to yourself first, and then communicating that truth clearly to others. You can build rituals that guard your quiet, a reading hour, a solo walk, a morning routine that belongs entirely to you. And at the same time, you can choose to invest in connections that genuinely sustain you with people who honor your space and don't take your boundaries personally. This balance is not easy to find, but finding it is profoundly freeing. And crucially, you do not owe anyone an explanation for it. Society may not always understand your choices, but your soul knows exactly what it needs. As Jung said, individuation means being true to yourself, even when the world is demanding otherwise. So give yourself permission to walk this path. Honor the hermit within you, and alongside that, nurture the connections that truly nourish your spirit rather than deplete it. Then your solitude no longer feels like a burden. It becomes a sacred place of renewal. We understand this balance isn't something you simply decide and then have. The world is loud. Expectations press in from every side, and your own inner critic may still judge you for wanting to be alone. But holding your boundaries is not selfishness. It is one of the most genuine acts of self-respect and care you can offer. Start by learning to recognize your own signals. Is your body heavy? Your thoughts scattered? Your mood shorter than usual? These are your system's quiet alarms, signs that a reset is needed. When you notice them, give yourself permission to slow down, even if that means stepping back from plans or going offline for a while. then communicate honestly. You don't owe anyone a lengthy justification. Something as simple as "I'm staying in today, I need some time to myself" is more than enough. The people who truly value you will understand. Those who don't, well, that tells you something important too. Create a sacred space for yourself, a warm corner of your home, a favorite bench in the park, a quiet morning ritual that belongs only to you. That is where your inner hermit can rest without apology, and through all of it, be soft with yourself. You don't have to be available or socially present all the time. You are allowed to simply be with yourself in your own company. Honoring your longing for solitude is not selfishness. It is the beginning of becoming whole, precisely as Carl Jung understood it. Perhaps now, at the close of this journey, something has been quietly moved within you. Something genuine and long recognized. And that is the enduring power of Jung's work, its profound reverence for the individuality of every soul. There is no correct way to be. There is only your way. And if your way includes closed doors, quiet rooms, and time spent entirely alone, that does not make you strange or difficult or less worthy of love. Jung reminds us that individuation, the lifelong process of becoming whole, requires that we embrace every part of ourselves, including the parts the world doesn't always celebrate or understand. So when you honor your need for retreat, you are not turning away from life. You are tending to an essential and irreplaceable part of your soul. You don't have to reshape yourself to fit a mold that was never made for you. Your home, your silence, your solitude, these are sacred spaces where the soul renews itself, recovers itself, and quietly grows. And it is there, in that most intimate space, that you discover the strength to meet the world on your own terms. With honesty, with depth, and with a peace that is entirely your own. If you carry one thought with you from today, let it be this: the way you are in the world is valid. Your love of silence is not a deficiency. It is a legitimate and beautiful expression of your soul, and it deserves to be honored, most of all by you. We've arrived at the end of this journey, though in truth, yours is only just beginning. Together, we've explored 6 truths from Carl Jung, encountered the archetype of the hermit, and discovered how solitude, when embraced rather than resisted, can become one of the most profound sources of inner wisdom available to us. I invite you now to turn inward, with gentleness, without judgment, to recognize that your desire to be alone is not a weakness, but a sign of deep inner listening, that your boundaries are not walls built from selfishness, but acts of genuine self-care, and that right there, in the quietness of your own space, you hold everything you need to grow, day by day, into a little more of who you truly are.